Good Friday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Conversation Daily News. Glad you all could be with us. Well, we made it to the end of another week. We're glad you all could be with us this week, even with the holiday. Of course, you have your news headlines coming up today. I have a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. And in today's Entertainment Spotlight, you're part of my conversation with actor and singer Catherine Lidstone. You don't want to miss that. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Friday headlines. In international news, Qatar says Gaza ceasefire will begin today, with aid to follow as soon as possible. A 4-day ceasefire in Gaza between Israel and Hamas was set to begin today, Qatar said, after a day-long delay extended the agony for those hoping for some relief from the deal, which is to bring the release of dozens of hostages held by militants and Palestinians imprisoned by Israel. The diplomatic breakthrough promised some relief for the 2.3 million Palestinians in Gaza who have endured weeks of Israeli bombardment, as well as families in Israel fearful for the fate of their loved ones taken captive during Hamas' October 7th attack that triggered the war. The ceasefire was originally set to begin Thursday, but it appeared to hit a snag the night before when Israel's national security advisor announced a one-day delay without providing a reason. On Thursday, the Qatari Foreign Ministry announced the ceasefire will begin at 7 a.m. local time today. He said the two sides had exchanged lists of those to be released, and the first group of 13 women and children held by Hamas will be freed today. He did not say how many Palestinian prisoners will be freed, but officials have said 3 will be freed for every hostage. Increased aid for Palestinians will start to enter Gaza as soon as possible. The hope is that the momentum from this deal will lead to an end to this violence, he told reporters. Israeli airstrikes continued Thursday in the afternoon. A strike leveled a residential building in the refugee camp in central Gaza. At least 12 people were killed, according to officials at a nearby hospital. One resident said his wife and several children were killed, and other relatives remained buried under the rubble. It exploded on the house, striking the babies and young children. Everyone in the house. They are all dead, he said, bursting into tears. The Israeli bombardment, now in its 7th week, has killed more than 13,300 Palestinians, according to the health ministry in Hamas-ruled Gaza, which resumed its detailed count of casualties in Gaza from the war. The ministry had stopped publishing casualty counts since November the 11th, saying it had lost the ability to do so because of the health system's collapse in the north. In national news, residents of Kentucky Town can return home after crews extinguished derailment fire. A chemical fire at a Kentucky Trail derailment that caused evacuations have been extinguished and people can return to their homes, the rail operator for CSX said on Thursday. CSX spokesperson said in an email Thursday afternoon that the fire is completely out. He said the authorities and CSX officials reviewed air monitoring data and decided it was safe to let displaced return home. In more national news, FBI ends investigation of car wreck in Niagara Falls Bridge, no indication of terrorism. The FBI has ended its investigation of a fiery car wreck that killed 2 people at a border checkpoint in Niagara Falls after finding no evidence that it was a terror attack, easing a period of high tensions as Americans headed into their Thanksgiving holiday. The FBI's decision late Wednesday came several hours after the vehicle raced through an intersection, hit a median, and was launched through the air before slamming into a line of booths and exploding at the Rainbow Bridge in Niagara Falls. Local police are now handling the case as a traffic investigation. In sports, Amazon and NFL hoping to establish a tradition with the first Black Friday game. It is not a stretch to say the Black Friday game between the Miami Dolphins and New York Jets is Amazon's Super Bowl. Not only does it mean an additional game on Prime Video that Amazon hopes to make into a yearly tradition, but it comes on the busiest shopping day of the year. When we talked with the NFL, this is a perfect marriage. Black Friday is a huge event for us every year. We're really putting everything behind this, Prime Video Vice President Jay Marine said in a statement. And finally, in business news, retailers are ready to kick off Black Friday just as shoppers pull back on spending, says the Associated Press. Retailers are kicking off the unofficial start of the holiday season today with a bevy of discounts and other enticements, but executives are growing concerned with a spending slowdown that could temper sales on the day after Thanksgiving, as well as throughout the holidays. Shoppers, powered by a solid job market and steady wage growth, had demonstrated a resilience that confounded economists and ran counter to sour sentiments expressed in opinion polls. Such spending, while cautious, came despite higher prices in the grocery aisle and higher borrowing costs. but consumers are now coming under more pressure from dwindling savings, increased credit card debt, and still stubborn inflation. In fact, shoppers cut their buying in October, ending 6 straight months of gains. Shoppers have gotten some relief from easing inflation, but many goods and services like meat and rent are still far higher than they were just 3 years ago, says the Associated Press. The latest quarterly results from a string of retailers from Walmart to Best Buy have reported a weakening consumer. Walmart said it noticed shoppers cutting back in October and offered a muted annual sales outlook. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. Enjoy. Good Friday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Words I Choose to Live By. Today, choose to realize that your happiness is not about what you have, but what you can become. So choose to be amazing. Have a great Friday and enjoy your weekend. Catherine Lidstone is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight right here on Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with Entertainment Spotlight. Actor and singer Catherine Lidstone joined me on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about her year and the end of the actors' strike. Here's a bit of our conversation.
Catherine, thank you again for the time. Really do appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
This is an important conversation, but first of all, I want to start it off on a very positive note, and that is to congratulate you on what's been an amazing journey for you as an actor. As I mentioned, also, you're being a singer, too. I want to talk about this year, as I alluded to, though, Catherine, because, as I mentioned, I first heard your name at the beginning of this year when it came to The Chosen, you being able to do some press about that. And then, of course, a lot happened between the middle of this year and where we are today. What has it been like for you just to think about this year and the roller coaster it's been?
Oh man, I'm very grateful. I think it's been an exciting year, certainly in many different ways. And yes, The Chosen was, obviously a major highlight. It's funny because, when the writers' strike began, obviously the town was immediately in an uproar, and it's been a big blessing to be able to work with interim agreements, even during the SAG strike. So I know Chosen was one of the shows that got the very first interim agreement granted. So that was a big blessing, and we were all very grateful for that. And when the writer's strike had started, I was on a indie feature that we're hoping to have some very good news about in the next few months. We think that we might be able to release some information about how it's coming out and where people can watch it. So it's been a season of provision, and it's also been a season of studying and learning and researching and supporting good causes for our unions, and so that's what I've been a part of.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning into this edition of Conversations Daily News. But better on Mondays, more news, message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By, and of course, your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, our host Cyrus Webb saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let us go make today amazing. Take care.